So wait, let me get this straight. Teofimo Lopez had to fight to get more than 1.2 million for a near undisputed unification with Vasyl Lomachenko anticipated fight, but Kell Brook being offered more than that for Terrence Crawford? We're going to talk about this. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. Shout out to everybody who signed up for ESPN Plus. Use the link in the description, or you can also join my affiliates. You'll see more at the end of this video. You can become a YouTube channel member as well as Patreon. Join that. Now, let's jump right into it. Mike Coppinger of The Athletic reports Kell Brook has been offered around $1.5 million for a November bout on an ESPN platform versus 147-pound champion Terrence Crawford, sources tell The Athletic. Josecito Lopez previously approached about fighting Crawford, but he's likely fighting Maurice Hooker on the Spence Garcia undercard. And Hooker and Regis Prograis recently went over to PBC from DAZN. So the DAZN curse continues. Now, he also says Brook hasn't scored a meaningful victory since 2014 decision over Sean Porter. The Englishman hasn't competed at 147-pound limit since 2017, a stoppage loss to Errol Spence. So, some more. Now, this is getting confusing, and I guess Ego Stradamus strikes again. So I made videos. They were saying there was a collapse between the Teofimo and Vasyl Lomachenko negotiations, and I followed that and reported on my channel, and it was over money. Lomachenko was given an option to fight Teofimo, and he was going to get cashed out $3.2 million or whatever with his package. But with Teofimo Lopez, they said for a near undisputed, and the reason I say near is because Devin Haney has a WBC belt, because the WBC decided to play this game and make Lomachenko a franchise champion, which I'll save that for a later video. So it's still a great fight. It's still a near undisputed, and it's still a unification. Teofimo was offered a package deal of $1.2 million, $1.25 million, and wanted more. Him and his team felt that they wanted more. So it's looking real confusing. It's looking real confusing because when I look at it in the grand scheme of things, these are both fights that would take place on ESPN. They're both top ranked fights. Why would Kell Brook be offered around $1.5 million to fight Crawford? And as Mike Coppinger said, he hasn't even fought at welterweight since 2017, and that was a loss to Errol Spence, right? Me personally, I'm not so worried about the fight. Like, I don't care. I think it's interesting enough stylistically, but that's under the pretense that Kell Brook is even the same fighter, which we really don't know because he fought too tough. He had a bunch of tune-ups after the Sean Porter fight, and he was ridiculed for his level of competition that Eddie Hearn was giving him and that he was fighting Jojo Dan, Kevin Bezier, Frankie Gavin. So then Eddie Hearn and Brook concocted this ingenious plan to move up to middleweight from welterweight, take no acclamation, tune-up fights or anything, and fight Golovkin, who was on a 21 knockouts in a row tear, and he had been undefeated at the time. So that was just foolish, which I told you then, and now I'm still saying that. See how consistent I am? Then he fought Errol Spence, which is the fight he needed to fight regardless, because Errol Spence was looking for his title shot and climbed up the IBF. Now, what is in the world of boxing considered Errol Spence's leftovers, a guy who hasn't really looked the same at welterweight, they're talking about Terrence Crawford fighting him. The bad thing with this is, like I mentioned with Terrence Crawford, I love him as a fighter. I think he's a terrific fighter, but the business doesn't make sense. His manager and trainer, Bomac, recently did an interview and copped a squat on Keith Thurman, saying how the fight doesn't need to happen. It makes no sense. Keith Thurman ain't nobody. He doesn't have a belt, yada, yada, yada. So how are names like Kell Brook and Josecito Lopez being considered? Because they too don't have a belt. Meanwhile, Gary Russell Jr. is incessantly calling him out. And in this social media age, those things like the backstory and the drama of it all, they help to aid in sales. Kell Brook, there's no real inherent backstory. You know, the only thing you can comparatively say is it's a barometer to Errol Spence. So, you know, it's a bad look for Crawford because I don't know how much credit people will give him for a Kell Brook victory. And then if he struggles, then people are like, man, Brook hasn't really been active and he was considered washed up. So that would be bad to lose. It would be even worse to lose to him or to struggle with him because Errol Spence, again, beat him 3 years ago when he was, you know, undefeated at welterweight at the very least. You know what I mean? So these moves from Team Crawford and Top Rank, they're a bit weird. But going back to the title of this video, Teofimo is not that dumb. Top Rank and Bob Arum said, I'm not going to lose millions because Teofimo thinks he's worth more. And we're in a pandemic and fighters got to be reasonable and this, that, and the third. So my question is, how come Kell Brook in a fight with Crawford that I don't know how desired it even is? You know, I don't know how much credit Crawford can expect to get from this fight. Stylistically, if Kell Brook is sharp and, you know, his eyes hold up, then it could be an interesting fight. But it's still not the magnitude of Lomachenko versus Lopez. So my question is, how do you have 1.5 million in a pandemic for Kell Brook, but when Teofimo wanted more than that, 1.2 for a near undisputed in unification, people said I was tripping and Teofimo doesn't deserve it and we're in a pandemic, so he has to be a lot more reasonable and he needs to come to his senses. Why? So what has Kell Brook done recently? Fought Rabchenko, looked horrible versus Michael Zarafa, and then fought somebody else unknown. And then before that, as The Athletic reported, he had lost back-to-back fights. Lost at welterweight. We don't know how. He could be looking for a paycheck, just a cash out, because Crawford is really good. We don't even know if, you know, Kell Brook used to, when he lost to Errol Spence, he made the excuse saying that he couldn't make welterweight. So that was 3 years ago. So how are you going to make welterweight now? Kell Brook, you can look it up. Kell Brook claimed that the reason he lost because he couldn't make weight. Kell Brook excuse, Errol Spence couldn't make welterweight. Let's see if I can pull anything up. Let's see if I can pull it up. Look, boom. Doesn't take long at all. New media, smash the like button. The Sun, weight gain. Kell Brook admits he has to move up in weight after confirming he broke his eye socket in Errol Spence. Brook says he can no longer compete at welterweight after losing his world title as Gennady Golovkin injury comes back to haunt him. So this was in May of 2017 after Errol beat him into submission. And it says Kell Brook has admitted for the first time he can no longer compete at welterweight. So who knows? I don't know what Brook has left, to be honest. You see what I'm saying? Because he was saying he couldn't make weight in 2017. How's he making welterweight now? You know, if anything, your metabolism as a male slows down the older you get. So he's another year older. His last couple fights have been at 50, 54, whatever, you know. He hasn't fought at welterweight. So once again, my question remains, how does Top Rank in a pandemic not have more than $1.25 million for Teofimo Lopez for a unification with Lomachenko that everybody wants to see? But Kell Brook, you can somehow with ESPN drudge up $1.5 million. And then on top of that, they say Lomachenko is pound for pound #1. They say Lomachenko is better than Muhammad Ali, could beat Floyd Mayweather. So he should be a bigger star than Terrence Crawford. So how do you have more money to feed a Crawford foe if Lomachenko is the star of the network? According to old media, it's looking real shaky, new media. And, you know, I don't understand. And I'm not hating on Kell Brook. I don't care if they give him $2 billion. But this is his last welterweight fight. And, you know, what happened to all that? Oh, we're in a pandemic, so we can't raise these types of purses. I told you, this is not making sense. It's not making sense that for the fight that everyone wants to see, Lomachenko and Lopez, you couldn't pay Teofimo more. You know, you could have even did it on pay-per-view if you wanted to. I don't know what type of numbers it would yield, but it's looking suspect because I don't see how you could raise on the same network with the same Top Rank imprint 1.5 million for an type of fight for Crawford, but then you were trying to lowball Lomachenko. So once again, Igor Stradamus was correct. Lomachenko, or excuse me, Teofimo's team they were correct to try to get more money. And if I was Teofimo, I would be offended by this. I would be offended like, wait, you just offered me this. Cool. It's business negotiations. But then I said no. Me and my team split tea and all that, said no. And you said that's all we have. And we're not going to afford to lose money on, because Teofimo Bob Arum says he's not willing to lose money on Lomachenko versus Lopez, right? Look, boom. Arum, I won't lose money on Lopez because Lopez thinks he's worth more. So it's looking real sketch to me, because this is a much better fight. This is a much better fight. And look, it says Lopez offered roughly the same person, Athletic, Mike Coppinger, same source he was getting, you know. Lopez was offered roughly 1.2 million purse for facing Loma. So just because he's young, you think you're going to rob him? And because Kell Brook has already had a couple big fights, you think like, oh, okay, we won't be able to. This whole situation just looks bad, bro. Gary Russell's constantly attacking Terrence Crawford. Crawford just recently said he has a lot of hate in his heart. I don't know why he said that, but that's just something to add to this video. You have $1.5 million for Brook, but you can't for a more anticipated fight. You know, it was a struggle to get Teofimo more money. And then on top of that, Crawford's team is turning down options, saying we don't want to fight Errol Spence off of the car accident. Crawford said that directly to DAZN in an interview that's on YouTube. He says him or his team said Keith Thurman, he's not valuable. He's coming off a loss. He don't have no belt, but he don't want to fight Porter because we're friends and he don't have a belt. He don't want to fight Gary Russell because he too little. But the report saying that they were seeking Josecito Lopez. So he don't have a belt for sure. Kell Brook don't have a belt for sure. All of this stuff doesn't make sense. Kell Brook don't have a belt, but you can offer him 1.5 million. Then there's a bigger fight, Lomachenko Lopez, and Teofimo has to fight tooth and nail to get more money than Kell Brook is being offered. Crawford's team is saying they won't fight X, Y, and Z if they don't have a belt because they want Pacquiao or Spence. Spence was already booked up. Pacquiao, a report just came out today that he's not even fighting this year. They used Pacquiao's name as if Crawford was going to really fight him this year. You didn't see me make no videos about it, right? You didn't see that. Look, Freddie Roach says Pacquiao won't fight this year. So the whole time Bob Arum and Top Rank, they've been telling us that Pacquiao and Crawford could happen in the Middle East. Now all of a sudden that's changing. Freddie Roach is saying Pacquiao won't fight this year. You know, he's going to fight maybe a time or two and then retire. And then Bob Arum just did an ESPN interview and said that Pacquiao, the Board of Health Control or something, the health administration says that the fight can't happen over there. I mean, it just looks bad for Crawford. And now you wonder why some people said Crawford should have went to PBC or at least explored that option. You know, it's something to consider. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. We work. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more sports. Get unlimited access to premium content with an ESPN Plus subscription. ESPN Plus offers a variety of content, including specials, behind the scenes, docuseries like Bruce Lee's Be Water, and much more. With an ESPN Plus subscription, you get access to a ton of classic archive fights and replays from boxing and the UFC. Big names like, "Hi, I'm Mike Tyson. Come and watch my fight." Floyd Mayweather, "Easy work. I'm rich." And Manny Pacquiao, "Yes, it's up to my promoter. Just to name a few. If that's not enough, you could get the ESPN bundle, which includes ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus. All three apps, one low price. You don't want to miss out. Make sure you guys click that link in the description box of all of my videos. Ego, signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.